Welcome back to Bring On the Shit, Breaking the Cycle and Healing Toxic Mother Daughter Relationships. Episode 5, Understanding Emotions Through the Ego's Lens. I am your host, Dr. Queen Agape. Today, we embark on a profound exploration of the emotional terrain within toxic mother daughter relationships. Join us as we explore how the ego exacerbates emotional turmoil within toxic mother daughter dynamics. From suppression to manipulation, we delve into the barriers that hinder authentic expression and connection. We offer insights into processing and navigating these challenging emotions. Emotions are the language of our soul, reflecting our innermost thoughts and experiences. Yet, within toxic mother daughter dynamics, emotions can become entangled in ego driven patterns, perpetuating cycles of hurt and misunderstanding. In this episode, we shine a light on how resentment, anger, and manipulation impact emotional well being and offer guidance in cultivating resilience and healing. How do ego driven patterns such as resentment, anger, and manipulation manifest within toxic mother daughter relationships? Well, ego driven patterns often stem from unresolved conflicts and unmet needs within the relationship. Mothers may harbor resentment towards their daughters for not fulfilling their expectations, leading to feelings of anger and frustration. And on the other hand, daughters may feel manipulated or controlled by their mother's actions, fueling a cycle of distrust and emotional upheaval. Patterns like this can erode trust and intimacy, making it difficult to cultivate healthy connections. So, how can mothers and daughters navigate these complex emotions and foster emotional well being? Well, it begins with validation and empathy. Both mothers and daughters must acknowledge the validity of their emotions and create space for open dialogue and understanding. Therapy, mindfulness practices, and self care can also serve as invaluable tools in processing and managing emotions. By fostering self awareness and compassion, mothers and daughters can heal old wounds and forge deeper connections based on mutual respect and acceptance. The ego exacerbates emotional turmoil within toxic mother daughter relationships by fostering a cycle of fear, insecurity, and defensiveness. When individuals prioritize their own ego driven needs for validation, control, or superiority, they may disregard or invalidate the other person's emotions, leading to feelings of hurt, resentment, and disconnection. This lack of emotional validation and understanding can intensify emotional turmoil within the relationship, creating a cycle of misunderstandings and conflict and emotional distance. Here are some common ways in which ego suppresses authentic emotional expressions within mother daughter dynamics. Minimizing emotions. The ego may dismiss or downplay the other person's emotion, invalidating their experiences and feelings in order to maintain a sense of superiority or control. Avoiding vulnerability. Individuals may resist expressing vulnerable emotions such as sadness or anger, fearing that it may make them appear weak or inferior in the eyes of the other person. Deflecting responsibility. The ego driven need to avoid accountability may lead individuals to deflect blame or responsibility for their own actions or emotions, instead attributing them to external factors or the other person. Ego manipulates or distorts emotions in toxic mother daughter relationships by gaslighting, emotional manipulation, and emotional projection. Gaslighting. The ego may manipulate or distort the other person's emotions by gaslighting them, causing them to doubt their own perceptions and experiences. Emotional manipulation. Individuals may use emotional manipulation tactics such as guilt tripping or emotional blackmail to control or manipulate the other person's emotions and behavior. Emotional projection. The ego driven need to avoid confronting one's own emotions may lead individuals to project their own feelings onto the other person, attributing their own insecurities or fears to them. So, how does fear of vulnerability contribute to the ego's influence on emotional expression in these relationships? The fear of vulnerability attributes to the ego's influence on emotional expression in mother daughter dynamics by leading individuals to avoid expressing authentic emotions for fear of being judged, rejected, or hurt. The ego driven need to protect oneself from personal emotional pain or perceived weakness may lead individuals to suppress or deny true feelings, further exacerbating emotional disconnect and turmoil within the relationship. Here are some examples of how the ego driven need for control impacts the way emotions are dealt with within toxic mother daughter dynamics. Seeking to control the other person's emotions. Individuals may attempt to control or manipulate the other person's emotions in order to maintain a sense of power or superiority within the relationship. Avoiding emotional vulnerability. The ego driven need for control may lead individuals to avoid expressing vulnerable emotions or engaging in open, honest communication, fearing that it may undermine their sense of control or authority. Using emotions as a weapon. The ego may weaponize emotions such as anger or guilt as a means of exerting control or dominance over the other person, leading to further emotional turmoil and disconnection. Here are some barriers individuals face in recognizing and understanding their own emotions within the context of the ego's influence. Denial or suppression of emotions. Individuals may deny or suppress their own emotions in order to avoid confronting uncomfortable truths or vulnerabilities. Difficulty in assessing emotions. The ego driven need to maintain a sense of control may lead individuals to disconnect from their emotions or block them out entirely, making it difficult to recognize or understand their own feelings. Fear of vulnerability. The ego driven fear of vulnerability may prevent individuals from acknowledging or expressing their true emotions, fearing that it may make them appear weak or inferior in the eyes of the other person. So, how can individuals begin to unravel the layers of ego driven emotional suppression and manipulation to foster genuine connection with their mothers or daughters? By cultivating self awareness. Practice mindfulness and self reflection to become more aware of your own emotions, triggers, and patterns of behavior within the relationship. Honoring vulnerability. Embracing vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness, and be willing to openly express and share your authentic emotions with the other person. Engaging in empathetic communication. Practice active listening and empathy to truly understand the other person's emotions and perspectives, fostering a sense of mutual understanding and connection. Setting healthy boundaries. Establish clear boundaries with the other person to protect yourself from emotional manipulation or invalidation, and prioritize your own emotional well being and authenticity. What role does empathy play in breaking down the barriers created by the ego in understanding and navigating emotions within mother daughter relationships? Empathy plays a crucial role in breaking down the barriers created by the ego and understanding and navigating emotions within these relationships by fostering a sense of connection, understanding, and validation. When individuals approach the other person's emotions with empathy and compassion, they can create a supportive and validating environment where both parties feel heard, understood, and valued. So, how can mothers and daughters cultivate a safe, supportive environment for authentic emotional expression and connection despite the ego's influence? Well, mothers and daughters can cultivate a safe, supportive environment by prioritizing open communication. Create a safe space for honest and open communication where both parties feel comfortable expressing their emotions and concerns without fear of judgment or criticism. Practicing empathy. Approach the other person's emotions with empathy and understanding, seeking to validate and support their experiences rather than dismissing or minimizing them. Respecting boundaries. Honor each other's boundaries and emotional needs and refrain from using emotional manipulation tactics such as guilt, tripping, or gaslighting. Seeking support. Seek guidance from a therapist or counselor who can provide tools and strategies for fostering healthy emotional expression and communication within the relationship. As we conclude today's episode, let's reflect on a few takeaways. The ego feeds off drama and conflict, often leading to volatile emotional dynamics within toxic mother daughter relationships. Both parties may struggle to express their feelings authentically, leading to a cycle of resentment, anger, and emotional suppression, creating a complex and challenging journey. However, with self awareness, empathy, resilience, and open communication, individuals can cultivate deeper connection and foster greater emotional authenticity and understanding within their relationship and cultivate emotional well being and healing. That wraps up another enlightening episode of Bring On the Shit, breaking the cycle and healing toxic mother daughter relationships. Join us next time as we explore breaking down communication barriers. Until then, remember your emotions are valid. Embrace them with compassion and understanding. In a minute.